Following piano, that is definitely the approach to take. A lot of people out there worried about that, and I don't understand why. Following piano in chat, there's some people are saying we get 800 numbers, and some say no such thing. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. There you go. Either way, you're going to find out how to contact the bank. You're going to be able to contact. You're going to be able to get an appointment. You're going to be able to exchange your currency. This fixation over turning it into something to fight over, I never understood. Yeah. No need to worry about it. Good to see you, Fred. Hello, TP, Mizra's CAC21. Hello, Mary and Moorhead. Hello, Charlie, Lisa, Cheryl, Zim. A couple of Cheryls. Hello, JJ Patriot, Elizabeth. Good to see you in the house, Miss Cameron, Pammy K. Hello, Flight Level. Yeah, what's going on here? $64 silver. Let's check in for the latest. 43.24 is what we're seeing in gold right now at Miles Franklin. 63.44. I saw it over 64. I got more on that one. Trek for Life, good frosty morning. I've had a couple of people check in this morning with the temperature from where they're at, and it does not sound pleasant. Hello, Mr. Dawson. Hello, Miss Landry. Hello, Phyllis. We will. Jabril, good to see you. Hello, Biscuit. We will have Jonathan Otto joining us after all the news this morning. They better contact me. Don't they know who I am? Right, Barbecue Honcho? Hello, Miss Hayes and Wolf Pup. Wait. Rob Reiner passed? Huh. He certainly turned into a very, very, very bitter person. I hope he died in peace and made peace with his maker. Hello, Roland. I don't know if that's factual, guys. I haven't seen it in the news. Secret identity. Made the difficult decision to not walk the pup this morning. -4 degrees. Dog was okay with it. I bet the dog was very okay with it. It's even below freezing in North Texas. Hello, Miss Mira. Where is that crazy cat looking around? She's not in here. Wait, what? Him and his wife were stabbed to death? Murdered by son? Oh, geez. No, I hate hearing that one. Murdered. John, what's your bank story? No money in your bank? Kind of afraid to ask. Hopefully it's a positive one. Let's see. It is the feeds are blaming their son for multiple stab wounds. Throat slit? Holy crap. Hey, look, I know his politics have become absolutely whacked, but that's not okay. Wow, knife to death. Whoa's all I can say about that one. Yeah, new envies. Good morning. Good morning. I know we need to be getting into stuff. Yeah, man, I'm a little shook up by that one. Sophie girl, Sophie girl, checking in from the cold North Carolina. And Dave Co, I appreciate that one. Yeah, I don't know why we have this need to. Well, I know why we have this need to fight. They need to divide us if they are to control us. Nana Jess said, prayer request for my daughter. She was in a motorcycle accident last night. Lots of prayers for her and her boyfriend for quick healing. Yeah, wonder what went wrong. Was I just reading those? I'm like, whoa. Length, I agree. Silver's on the launching pad. There's so much going on. Yeah, see, I'm supposed to bring you the news. I hadn't seen this Rob Reiner one. I tend to focus more on, I don't know, The economic side of it, and also the unrest as they attempt to re-engineer the world order. Yeah, Mark, your idea of being down in PR because it was straight up cold here in Cameron, North Carolina. Good morning. Come on down. Yeah, Reiner had a bad case of TDS. Still don't want him killed in that manner. Well, I don't want him killed, period. But you get where I'm going on that one. That's horrendous. Let's see, Robert's opinion. Guys, opinions of people in this community of mine are not always the same. Often are, but not always the same. Rob probably cut off the money supply to a spoiled rich kid. That's possible. It is amazing how people suddenly believe your money's their money. How much time will we be given for the currency exchange? I've been told over and over and over and over and over a minimum of 90 days, probably up to 6 months. I rather think it's probably going to be 90 days tops. And I do not think your dinar will be any good if you decide to hold on to it until after that period, or your other currencies. Let's see. Lisa in Texas, I've been tagging you on X on the farmers across the pond standing up to tyranny. We got some reports on that this morning, too. Lisa, I appreciate that one. Do I think all these mass deaths are red flags? I think it's as simple as this. Many of these mass deaths that we are watching right now are very easy to explain. Muslim Brotherhood called for a jihad, called for them to rise up and kill people, Christians and Jews all over the world. Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. Now, whether or not there's some engineering on there to whip it up to make it worse, yeah, I absolutely believe it is. Yeah, never got the Texas girly girl. Just about any time they pass a sin tax to help a school, help a whatever, you look at the money that actually makes it from lotteries to where it's supposed to. It's a joke. Yeah, sleeper cells, you name it, all over the place. Reiner's son, Nick, now in custody. Boy, I tell you, I'd like to hear the why. That's just sad. Kenneth, I want to thank you for acknowledging the loss of my wife from pancreatic cancer that was married for 35 and a half years. Best friend. That's just a tough one, Kenneth. Yeah, you got lots of prayers headed your way, mine included. Syntax usually is a money grab. Miss Shaw, it's good to see you in the house. I'm with you, Charles. I don't know why people think they need 90 days, 6 months. Dude, I will be in the door and out the door. I will be Flash Gordon. I will be so stinking quick. Faster than that. What's the Flash? Who's the fastest person? I'd be like the what's that? Sudan Bolt or whatever his name is. I'm out of here, man. In and out. You guys won't even be able to kiss my hairy butt. I'll be in and out so fast. Mr. Tom, it's good to see you in the house. Ms. Shaw, always. I'll be faster than the Jack Rabbit. Wait, where is that one? I got to see if I can find that one. Roadrunner. Beep, beep, pew. I'll give it 72 hours and then within 5 days. TP, that is probably very good thinking. Linda gets it in and out. Bada bing. Celebrating my birthday at 12/7, not one single minute. 12:07. Miz, we're still going to throw you on the list, though. Ms. Metz. Let's see. Reiner's son was busy transitioning from male to female. Some mental issues that go with that one. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Hussein Bolt. Chicken flockers. Thank you. Hoops. Originally heard it would be 30 days. They want it done quick. They want it done as quickly as they can. But they have to work within understandable logistics when they do that one. Jane, like a blur. Be there in a Superman moment. Run, Forrest. Run. Wade and Gina in the house. Hey, they're going to be joining us Christmas week on the 23rd. Becky thinks Reiner was long gone. Disclosure. Yeah, Gabriel, I'm with you. Steelers, we desperately need a win, or we need to hang up the season one. I hate to jump on the bandwagon, although I've been on it, probably one of the first on it. I like Tomlinson, but he just does not have the fire anymore. The desire, the burning desire to win. Still a classy guy. I just think he has lost that fire. How much trouble am I getting in for that comment? Thandrock, most of my dongs on the Wise app. Will it RV they're any different? Pretty daggone close. Within pennies, Thandrock, and you paid way less for it. So even if it is a penny or two less per, who cares? Because you paid way less, which means you probably bought more than you would have if you'd have been buying it at $60 or $70. So you probably come out way ahead. See, breaking news. FBI arrests 4 in LA, California, planning a New York Eve terror plot. I don't like the thought of us not doing social events, not going to holiday festivals, not doing all those. But the reality is the world's been put in a really crappy position where your safety is very much in question. And especially if you're going to attend anything, well, pretty much anything non-Islamic, if you're going to try to, and boy, that sounds bad, doesn't it? Just that I'm even having this. They did this on purpose. They wanted us to talk to this way. They wanted to be able to blow the dog whistle of religious persecution, racism. You pick one. I mean, let's pick one. They wanted us to be able to blow that dog whistle on all the sides. They wanted us to be able to create anti-Zionism, Zionists. They wanted us to be able to create Semitic, anti-Muslim. They wanted this point. They wanted this exact time in history. Or they want to open the borders left and right. They did it on purpose, guys. The reality is it screwed the safety of the world. But they did it on purpose. And all under the guise of being more open-minded. My ass. Yeah. Let's see. Tomlin has been rumored to be coaching Michigan if let go by the Steelers. He would make a better college coach than pro coach. Jason, not the troll. You must be positive and live your life with caution. That's exactly it, Jason. Well said, brother. Well said. The racial divide is not working anymore. Next on the list, religion. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's like, pick what's the next one? Where's the next one they're going to try to widen the cracks with? Wait, lily pad. An engine fell off another plane this weekend. Did manage to land safely. United Airlines flight out of Dulles International Airport. Wow. Way to go for that pilot. Wonder what kind of plane it was. Anybody? I mean, I'm guessing it was another Boeing. I mean, when bad news starts running, it's tough for a company to get out of that spiral, even if they do a great job. Jericho Walls, where's gas? $1.98. I know it sounds flippant, but not where you are. No, I'm like curious. Guys, if anybody has gas close to that mark in your state, your area, please sound off so we can see it. We're going to get into any updates we get. I don't have any updates on Zim value. I continue to hear the same thing. I know a lot of people are out there spouting this, spouting that. All I can tell you is what my sources say. I don't care what theirs say because they're not my sources. I mean, their source might be right. Mine could be absolutely wrong. But I'm not going to get into the circle tell gig like 99% of the people in this thing are. Not all. There are some really good ones out there, but way too many of them read somebody else's board and they all boards and repeat all the same information. See, we got 278 Michigan, 211 in Oklahoma, 285 Southwest Ohio, 225 Missouri. 240. Charlie just happy up there in the Northeast, and Massachusetts finally went to under 3. 279 in Battle Creek, Michigan. Yeah, just what Goose Girl said. Michigan's dumb. Still close to 3. Wow, 479 in the Bay Area of California. No wonder Californians have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world, because they not I'm not talking about our people in California, but the overwhelming majority of people from California, in my experience, they think that they are the center of the galaxy, of the known universe, and the entire world revolves around them. The Earth spins on its axis, and that axis is California and Gavin Newsom. I mean, they're horribly, horribly wrong. The rest of the world couldn't give a rat's butt if it fell off the side of the ocean. I mean, there's some of us would be concerned because we'd leave family members and friends, but by and large, most of the world would consider it a cleanup. Ooh, that sounds bad, isn't it? Does sound bad. Yeah, all right. Let's do what news there is. Not a huge amount yet. Bond news, waiting for the check-ins. Remember, expecting big news between now and Wednesday on the bond side. Very much so expecting very solid news on the bond side. We've got some interesting stuff out of Iraq today and over the weekend. 2026, the year of the sovereign decision and the departure of foreign forces. How will the new government deal with the more complex file or issues as they no longer have a watchdog over their shoulders? They are sovereign. Just remember, they always told us that they would be sovereign after we got paid. So, guys, we're there. We are so close. That is my take on that one. Minus 13. Whoa, slow that one down. Oof. Nope. That's a sad commentary. Keeps catching himself saying things sound bad, but he isn't wrong. That's the tough part, when you're calling it like it is and it sounds so bad. Shows you how successful they have been at dividing society. All right, let's get back to this whole sovereign decision and departure of foreign forces. How absolutely awesome it is as they stand on their own feet. And this is very important because those reforms said they were doing that so that they could be sovereign and lift the purchasing power of all Iraqis. Here's one that I could not get to translate, folks. It is they are saying in Iraq and on the streets. I'm getting this from government sources, from private individuals, from banking sources, that somebody has dumped a huge amount of US dollars to buy Iraqi currency off the streets over the weekend. And they're like, oh my God, what's going on here? Is it they don't have faith in the value of the currency? I think it's the government and the powers that be for changing their values, doing a good final cleanup to get as much of the Iraqi dinar off the streets as is possible leading into it, because it helps support their value, makes their currency far more stable. Now, let's get into a little deeper on this, because we got an interesting one on the difference between the Iraqi and the Jordanian banking sector too. Article coming today that really, really helps make our argument that a higher value for the Iraqi dinar is very much deserved. And I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, when in doubt, talk to a professional for any type of financial or medical assistance. Good notice, because I am not a doctor and I'm not a financial expert, meaning I haven't taken all the classes so I can sell their prepackaged products. I mean, I'd like to say that it's different, but you can't say you're a financial expert and haven't studied economics. Weird. All right. So we got a lot of dollars dropping suddenly, buying Iraqi dinar off the streets. I think that is indicative of a change. Inbound economic report comparing the performance of the banking sector in Iraq and Jordan over the last 5 years. Boy, this one gets very interesting. Banking assets, total assets of Iraqi banks increased 156.7 billion by the end of 2023. Annual growth of 15.1. Deposits grew, blah, blah, blah. Let's get down into the comparison. Jordan, in the banks and assets, 98 billion. Iraq, 156 billion. Jordan, 46.7 billion dinar. Iraq, 101.9 billion. So we got about twice in circulation what Jordan has. Well, of course, we got millions and millions and millions of US dollars buying some off the street now. That tells you what's printed. Now let's see, Kuwaiti dinar, okay, trillion dinar, blah blah blah. Bouncing back and forth on those. Skip the we can skip the loan stuff, which actually looks pretty solid, and get into those economics. You look at assets, real assets. Look at gold. You look at GDP, and you look at populations and amount in currency. Jordan right now at $1.41 US. Iraq in a far better position when you take all the per capitas into account, and it's worth a fraction of a penny. When just based on their math, it is worth at least what the Jordanian dinar is worth. Would you guys be okay with that? I'm not saying it's coming out at that, but if you're just going to do some math, if you're going to take all the naysayers out there and just look at it apples to apples, oranges to oranges, not apples to oranges, but same. It shows you that currency should be worth considerably, exponentially more. I just thought that one was a neat one to look at because it put them right beside each other. Whoever wrote that article had nothing to do with coming revaluation, or did it, as they're making the case showing, hey, based on fundamentals, Iraq should be worth a whole heck of a lot more. And there you got them in black and white printed for you. Source for the Independent, pumping large amounts of old dollars in Baghdad and Erbil. Oh, wait a minute. I can get rid of that article since it doesn't translate. We can just go right back to here. So we're seeing a large amount in circulation now. Like, why? I think it's to get as much dinar out of circulation as possible. Last ditch effort. And it is old currency. So it is like older dates U.S. currency. Was it stuck in a vault somewhere? Was Iraq holding on to it, left over from Saddam Hussein, all the cash he had? Older printed bills suddenly hitting the market. It's like somebody is dumping and trying to get dinar out of the market. To me, it is very, very telling. BRICS purchased 663 metric tons of gold worth $91 billion in 2025. Again, how many more articles are we going to get about the BRICS countries aggregating gold in preparation for something? How many more articles do we need to read about the unit, which will be acceptable all over the world? That'll be 40% backed by gold, 60% by BRICS countries' currencies, before we wake up and go, something is changing worldwide, economically. The monetary system is changing. I don't know how many more warnings we need. Now let's bounce into here. This one I thought interesting. Xi blasts reckless projects, exaggerating growth after China reveals dismal macro data for November. What's going on here? Xi is saying, hey, some of these people have been giving us really bad economic reports. We're used to this in the United States. We're used to agencies sabotaging other parts of the government. Usually it's them trying to sabotage the Trump administration. But we've kind of gotten used to not trusting our government because they're giving us bogus numbers. But this makes me think, hey, wait a minute. Is this Xi saying we have some bad folks in the CCP that are trying to not do the right thing, that are making up numbers? Is this letting us know that there's really a power struggle going on in China, something that a number of publications have been telling us now for months, that there is a major power struggle going on between the leadership and the CCP? I don't have that answer, but it does make me question. And I was curious what you guys thought of that one. What did Chef Patriots? Oh, wait, I tried to push it and then it was gone. Sorry about that. I'm going to miss that comment. It's too far back. Yeah, Kuwait is exporting a third of the oil. Yeah, I mean, you just do the math. And Kuwait's at 326. I look at the difference in them and it really is just screaming. See, Samsung closed a massive silver buy in Mexico over the weekend. Millions of ounces locked from the mines. I'm just reading a few of these. I'm going to get back to it. Jay Branch, I think we very well could have a Merry Christmas. What makes more sense to me is closer to the first of the year, or right before it, right after it, right in that period. But we'll see. It's exciting. Wherever we're at, it's exciting. All right. We've got a lot of global news that is curious. A collapse in Germany's chemical sector is a bad omen. This has preceded almost every modern day depression in Europe, or should I say recession, since really they quit really calling it a depression. They just call them a recession now. That way you're only like kind of dead instead of all the way dead, I guess. Wait, watched Micro interview with Dell Bigtree, and Mike was talking about how he and others can no longer trust authorities. They could have just checked in with us. All right, let's get back to Europe and the fall of the European Union or jobs. If you're not making something, you can't buy something. If you're getting it from somewhere else, that means you got a trade deficit, which means you are spending your money somewhere else and you're losing it. You got to balance it somehow. Germany, Europe in general, you guys are just dying. I wish I could tell you something different. And do I think there's hope? The people do seem to have started standing up. So I am very hopeful for Europe. Financially, I think you're in for some rough times. And this is part of the reset and why I keep telling folks prepare, 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 sit out the crazy. If you're prepared, you come out well. Overwhelming majority of the people around the world do not come out ahead when it first happens. Long run, absolutely, they do much better. State of the Union. Why are we not seeing this in our news around the world? I wonder how much of it's being shown even in the UK. 1,872 tractors and tanks storm London, capital under siege. Watch live. This has been going on for a while now. This one dated back on December 11th. December 11th, as we are watching this unfold, and it continues. People continue to stand up to the government. That should be making news everywhere, and it is making no news in the U.S. Tom, 5 years ago, December. Yeah, they went the wrong direction on that one. It's very possible. Just buckle up and watch. Robert, 68 today. Case. Yeah, that's it. We got to figure out what's really going on. Yeah, I'm crazy. So what I said that. No. If you're crazy, you get to partake. But now let's watch what's going on around the world. I can turn this news banner off so I can see your chats better, folks, and respond better. I think overwhelming majority go together. Still very much believe that. Very much believe most go together. All right, let's get to Chile. Turns hard to the right, tough on crime. Anti-immigration candidate easily wins the presidency. Now, I have noticed something very interesting here. I mean, like a landslide, 58% to 42%. This is, I mean, they're wearing make Chile great again hats. I mean, this is very much along with what we've seen in El Salvador, Argentina, Panama, and much of Central and South America, is this hard pushback to sane policies, responsible spending, borders. The number one issue in Chile has been crime and then illegal immigration. Over 60 some percent said they voted the way they voted because of runaway crime. 40 some percent said that illegal immigration was a large portion of that vote. What I find interesting is almost every one of these countries where they have made just massive pivots right by 15, 20%. I mean, we're talking like in the grand scope of things, that is a massive, massive swing. Almost every one of these countries have reformed their electronic voting system, meaning they have pushed back to either a hybrid of more paper ballots so they can compare them, or gone totally paper in many areas. And this is just an observation, guys. I've not done a deep dive to find out exactly how many, etc. But I found that very interesting that these countries that are having these mass changes are ones that over the past months, 2 years, I've read about how they believe that they had a lot of fraud and have been cleaning up their electoral systems, and they don't trust two of the biggest names out there in electronic machines. I just find that curious. I'm not saying anything happened. I'm just saying when there's smoke, you should check for a fire. Like, because there's probably something burning. Targeted anti-Semitism. And it was a weekend of targeted anti Semitism. And it wasn't just against Judaism, it was against Christians as well. 16 dead, 38 injured after father and son terrorist attacked Sydney Jewish celebration. Although over the weekend, it was pretty much all anti Jewish. Shooting during the Hanukkah event at Bondi Beach. This one is just tragic. A father and son team, 124, 150. Dad is dead. Son is in the hospital. Law enforcement returning fire. 24-year-old Navid Akram was identified as one of the suspected gunmen. His father dead. 38. Let's see. Let's just get into it. 16 confirmed dead, including a 10-year-old kid, 87-year-old man. As we get into some of the victims, tragic, absolutely tragic. 14 people died at the scene. Another 2 people, including a 10-year-old and a 40-year-old man, have died since in the hospital. Some of the press response to this has been substandard. You've got to be able to call terrorism what it is, racism what it is. I'm having a tough time with these. Prayers for you folks in Australia. And they legally own guns. Or at least that's what the story has said. I wonder how that's going to play in the anti-gun front in Australia. Does that mean they're going to get rid of all legal guns? Does that mean they're going to allow others to carry them so maybe somebody in the crowd can fire back? Yeah, all right. Hanukkah security ramped up across the entire West. They didn't add that word. I added that word after the Sydney terror attack shocks the world. Authorities in Berlin, London, New York, Warsaw, and across France announced a heightened police presence, synagogues, public menorah lightings, and Jewish institutions. Again, I mentioned the Muslim Brotherhood calling for a worldwide jihad to rise up against Christians and Jews worldwide. And what's the chance that they are related events? You have functions. We are spending millions and millions, billions of dollars more worldwide over security because of religious differences. Do we really? I mean, are we ever going to talk about the elephant in the room? We really should talk about the elephant in the room. Do you want to live this way? I'm not going to live this way. This is unacceptable. Maybe some people are like, well, that's, another, for us to be more tolerant, we have to live like this. No, you don't. Don't let anybody convince you of that idiocy. That is pure propaganda, psyop, psychobabble that we have to live, that we do not have to live this way. I mean, it keeps going. We got some here in Washington, D.C. Brown University shooting, person of interest released. Gunman still at large. Person of interest had access to some of the unique guns, had traveled from Wisconsin. He may have, who knows, may have been involved somehow, but he was 100% not the shooter. Cameras very much support his alibi. He has since been released. Of course, I'm guessing they were probably very hopeful that he was it because it would have fit their bill. But then we get into the shooting at Brown happened in Rachel Friedberg's classroom. She's a teaching professor of economics and faculty associate in the program in Judaic studies. She was professor in Israel for 4 years. I wonder what the motive was. Yeah, it's like a questionable thing. So we don't have much on this one other than went into a classroom full of Jewish people in Brown University and started shooting people up. And the university is having a tough time, even though they have 800 cameras giving us any footage for some reason. I don't know, guys. It could be legitimate. They could just be that absolutely security on that campus could just be that substandard. They could just be. Let's see. Take It Swiss put a video saying law was passed for legal confiscation of silver. Just love that is going to be a topic of the morning on Wednesday. We will be doing a bit of a deep dive on it. Have I heard it? Yes. How much of it's true? How much of it we need to be concerned with is a different story, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, one of the deceased at Brown University was identified as leader of the campus Young Republican Party. Yeah, we're supposed to be tolerant of the intolerant. Yeah, the insanity of that entire comment is something. But it appears from just even skimming the articles that pretty much every one of this was related to the Muslim Brotherhood's call. Almost every one of these appeared to be anti-Semitic. Almost every one of these, you already know all those answers. All I'm doing is singing to the choir. End of the American dream. Why is Europe feverishly preparing for World War III? We do have, not Dr. Jonathan Otto joining us, guys, in about 10 minutes or so on red light therapy, and of course on the really cool mats. I'm looking forward to that one. He is really making his rounds, but we do have technologies that help now. All right, let's get back to finishing up the news before it is time for Mr. Otto. If there is going to be peace, why are we witnessing the largest military buildup in Europe since the end of the Cold War? Question. When it comes to the major players in geopolitical stage, it is far more important to watch what they do than listen to what they say. This is something I very much learned in politics and American politics. They tell us one thing, the Republican Party tells us one thing, and then they don't do it. They tell us, oh my God, we need to be fiscally responsible, and then they're not. Of course, that is politics, but watch Europe. They keep telling us not to be worried, but they keep spending more money. They keep talking about ending drafts. They keep talking about war, but we don't need to be worried, guys. I think we need to be worried. I think it's more of a worry in Europe than it is in the U.S. I think the U.S. is trying to return to sanity. I think much of the Central and South America is trying to return to sanity. But it very much worries me when I watch it because the evidence is saying something wrong is going on. My concern is, do we get a reset? Do we get our dollars? And then do we need to be worried or not? This is what I'm getting. I'm not trying to fearmonger here, guys. I'm trying to say we need to keep our eyes open, our heads on a swivel, and make certain that we think safety at all times. Nigeria's Christians are caught in a tide of jihadi violence. The plight of Christians received relatively little global attention until the Trump administration threatened to intervene. I've been talking about this one nonstop, guys. It started under Hillary Clinton as a Secretary of State, Obama as a president, when they engineered the overthrow of Gaddafi, when they oversaw the rise of ISIS, when they spent billions of dollars trying to cover up their bad arms deal. This is when it happened. This is when my business in Africa, we all had to flee, when the world went crazy and the AIB, the militant arm of Al Qaeda in Northern Africa, stormed through the country, and they still live a good life in Nigeria. Never been more terrified in my life. That is, as I read this, it's heartbreaking. Entire villages, missionaries. This was going back years when this one happened. I think 5-6 years ago when they started. That was back in 2005. Oh wow, 2005. We can go back pre-Obama and look back to the Bush Jr. administration. The surging violence, the death of Christians, and the world doesn't seem to be concerned. Is it because they're black? Do we not? Does the world not care? Does Europe not worry? Is Trump the first person to care? Because world leaders have been ignoring this problem for over a decade. Over a decade. This one's dear to my heart. Over 10,000 illegal immigrants arrested in Los Angeles in the last 6 months, according to Department of Homeland Security. Now, wait till you read some of the folks. It reads like a who's who. Now, of course, the Newsom administration and California lawmakers tried to make this impossible to pull off. DHS, ICE, still working on it, even working handicap with over an 8,000% increase in threats against ICE and border control. Some of the people that they arrested were, let's see, among the criminal illegal aliens arrested, Reza Hashimi from Iran, convicted of rape, aggravated assault, domestic violence, burglary, driving under the influence. According to statement, other criminal illegal aliens arrested, according to statement, have included Andres Velasquez Ocampo from Mexico, convicted of armed carjacking, vehicle theft, vandalism. Juan Carlos Tamayo from Mexico, convicted of homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, multiple counts of attempted murder. Ambart Soum, it just goes on and on here. From Armenia, convicted of kidnapping, homicide, fraud, burglary, larceny, forgery. Rene Reyes Miranda from Cuba, convicted of sex offense against a child, sex offender registration violation, harassing communication, cocaine, robbery, burglary, larceny, probation violation, property crimes, possession of stolen property, possession of burglary tools. Akop Jack Kantrozin, former of Armenia. Yeah, I'm butchering some of these names. Convicted of identity theft, burglary, multiple counts of conspiracy to commit crime, larceny, multiple counts of fraud, receiving stolen property, shooting at an inhabited dwelling, vehicle possession of a firearm, grand theft, access cards, violation of patrol, battery, conspiracy to defraud. Everardo Garcia Martinez from Mexico, convicted of vehicle theft, armed carjacking, amphetamines. Jose, guys, it goes on and on and on. But hey, California, you can thank the administration for making it a priority. You can't thank for these folks off the street, but you cannot thank Gavin Newsom. You also can't thank overwhelming majority of your Republican legislators in the state of California. Go look at their voting record. Hey, wait, what's this? Prayers for baby Beckett. Rachel's. Oh, baby Beckett's got a birthday tomorrow. We'll celebrate tomorrow. It just, when I'm reading these things, what is going on? I'm just blown away. I mean, when are we just going to stand up and talk about everything as a world? I mean, you and I talk about it. You guys talk about it. Let's look at the markets. Down 32 points. Let's look at where metals are now at. Gold 43.28. This is according to Miles Franklin. Silver at 63.81. Staying tight on that 64 mark and close to it. All right, what else was there to talk about this morning? I know there was a lot, like a lot. I was trying to thin it down so we could get through it. But we're going to have a little bit of time now before Jonathan joins us and we let him rip. And guys, you know how that's going to go. This could take a while. I'm reading a few of these to catch up. Feel like the movie's coming to an ending? I hope so. Put on that full armor of God. If there were a Christian targeting mosques all over the country and shooting people up, I would find that atrocious. I would find that demonic. And here's my biggest problem right now with Islam is they are not. They're out there championing it. They're out there ignoring other crimes. And this is something you just can't do. You can't claim the moral high road unless you're going to drive on the moral high road. Which can be said at the same thing if you go to Israel and Gaza, if somebody's abusive on either side of it and just killing people because, not be for a good reason, not because they did this crime or did that crime, just because of their or accident of birth and the family they're born into, then I think there's something wrong with you. But when I look at those sides, one side overwhelmingly condemns and goes after that kind of violence. The other side encourages, promotes it, says, but it's okay. It's not okay. Simply not okay. You cannot justify it that way. Richard, please explain Iraq bind and off the street so everyone understands. I see Deborah had her birthday yesterday. All right, guys, there's a certain amount of currency in circulation. It represents a set number of goods. If you take some of it out of circulation, then the remaining amount in circulation should be worth more. For instance, you got a pizza. If you charge and you cut it into the same number, well, let's see, for 8 slices, cut it into 8 slices, and it's $20. Then it's how much a slice? You're getting the idea here, right? But now let's say that we cut it into 12 slices instead of 8, and we still charge the same amount per slice. We got less pizza. That is how currency works. It's like all they're doing is making the cut of the pie, the cut of the pizza, the cut of the whatever smaller and smaller as they print more. So when they come in and remove currency from the street, then your currency becomes worth more. So when you see them dumping US dollars to buy Iraqi dinar off the streets, that means that a lot of currency is coming out of circulation. And if you're moving it out of circulation, the remaining amount that's in circulation should be worth more money under any common sense economic study. If all other factors are the same, but you remove a large portion of your currency from circulation, do the math. We remove 1 trillion Iraqi dinar, 1 billion US dollars worth roughly of currency, then the rest of it becomes worth another percent more. Remove 5%, your currency becomes worth 5% more because it's still backing the same number of goods. It's exciting when we see that. You guys should be doing a party. And just to give you an idea, they've cut the amount in circulation depending on which study, which statement from the central bank, which financial expert, what economist from Iraq says. But if we watch the numbers, they've cut it roughly by over half. Huge, enormous change. They're running right now, based on their own numbers, somewhere between 4 and 2 times the amount of currency in circulation they had before. The difference is, though, that they have massively more revenue. They've discovered far more resources. They have more people. They have more assets. Now, I mean, if we just went by their old numbers and just said, okay, it's worth a quarter of what it used to be, because you're right, they way overprinted. And based on the numbers, most of what we're seeing is 2 times more to 2.5. But let's just say the worst pundit, devil's advocate out there is right, and it's 4 times more. Then it should be worth a fourth of what it was before, not 1,000th. So it'd still be an exponential difference just based on, I mean, we're talking like the most simple, basic fundamentals. Oh, no, I did not catch the part about Beckett being hospitalized for his birthday tomorrow. Guys, send prayers for baby Beckett. This one's, he's our community's baby. Takes a village, I guess. Takes a community. Andy is planning on being on this week, gone fishing. I don't worship Trump core thoughts. I also don't hate him irrationally. TDS goes both ways. Goes to those people that cannot possibly think he can make a mistake and that he walks on water no matter what he says. Much of what he says, he shouldn't. He should have more class. But do I think he's doing an exponentially better job than any other choice I've seen presented? Absolutely. Not even close. Yeah, I can only imagine how busy Andy is. Yeah, when you put too many caps, you get timed out. It's not because we dislike you. We just put in the parameters. It is 100% agnostic. You did it to yourself. Put too many emojis, you get timed out. You did it to yourself. Nobody did it to you. You did it to yourself. It's like a simple computer if-then statement. What's the update, Bonds, HCL? You should have been here the first at the 10-minute mark when we started on the news. But the short is no bond news today. HCL, we can watch them working on legislation, but it hasn't fully passed yet. There's your short of it. But if you ever want to know the answer, come in when we do the news. You can find out quickly. Yeah, did somebody put a bank story in chat? Hopefully they did. If they did, share it. I've got Jonathan in the background, so I am ready to bring him. Oh, wait, I should sing happy birthday too. I should do that while we have the chance. No, WK, baby Beckett's a young man. Now, James's daughter, our other child, although she's a teenager now, she's a young lady. Military situation in PR continues to grow. The military presence continues to grow. They have reactivated portions of the Ramey Air Force Base off to the side. There was a transport planes coming in and out over the weekend. I saw a couple, drove past just to get an idea of what was going on. Generators, shipping containers. They are setting up an extra area. Saw what I believe is a Reaper drone getting maintenance at the end of the runway. They're definitely increasing the military presence in Puerto Rico, including at Aguadilla, a number of, what do we call them? Tour buses, not really tour buses. Same idea, the big buses for transporting military personnel. So if they bring in do they get them to basing? We also saw a fair amount of activity at what used to be the base housing in Aguadilla. Not the older one right beside the airport, but the ones just a little bit further north, right on the coast. It's part of it's being used as a museum now, but I did notice quite a bit of activity and extra cars. It looks like they are working on getting some of that former base housing reopened. I don't know for certain. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing with my eyes in person. All right, you birthday people, MZ, Metz, Robert, Deborah. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those celebrating. Mark, good explanation. So what's it mean for uncirculated? It means just, difference between a brand new crisp dollar bill and one that is rumbled and folded and been being carried around in somebody's pocket for a year. That's the only difference. Do they bring you any more when you go to the grocery store? Does the crumpled bill from 10 years ago or the crisp one buy you any more groceries? I mean, any difference in the groceries? The answer is no. It's a selling pitch, Joshua. They tend to charge more if the bill's in good shape and looks uncirculated than they do. If you were collecting them like a baseball card, cool. If you're not collecting them like a baseball card, not cool. There's the short one. Let's see. Let's bring them in. We got them. We're ready for them.
What's up?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. We just went viral last night on the methylene blue Mel Gibson red light with Gary Franchi from Next News Network. That was great. And then last week I was on Tim Pool and with the Candace Owens big showdown, and which is interesting for me because I believe we need to question things. And at the same time, I did see that his house did get shot at. I saw the security footage myself, and even though he can't release it to the public, and I think that is being treated in a trivial way, hence why I can understand his frustration. But I also did on the show gently call him out for how he was handling the situation. But I also gave myself the premise that, look, I really can't say, because I acknowledge what was being done to him, and it's a trauma response, because if you get your house shot at, you're really thinking about your family.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But now you've still got to be accountable for the words that you say, and people are going to judge you with what you say. So I was kind of trying to urge people to see a bigger picture there and not take it, not take it lightly what happened to him, so you can understand his words in context. And also, bro, you got to be careful about the things you say, because, so anyway, it's the wild west, and it's exciting though to be giving solutions, because when he was talking about in 40 years, the Earth's electromagnetosphere, if you look that up, right, he was talking about this premise of the theory of what could happen to the Earth in 40 years. And I said, we're not going to make it because of cancer. And I explained that because 1 in 2 people are getting cancer in their life, now and those rates are set to double, then we're going to have a bigger issue there. And there are certain things that we can and can't talk about on this platform, but some of the best ones that are available we can talk about. For the things that we can't talk about, go and put my name into Rumble and look at all the shows I do with hosts there.
And that's one I really think we should take this at some point and go Rumble only, so we can have a real conversation.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's just get, if you don't mind, Mark, like, what
No,
would
we'll
be,
stay here today. I'm saying we
I
organize
know
one
what I'm
ahead.
saying. Yeah, exactly.
And maybe bring in some other folks.
If you're down for that, it'd be awesome to do an additional show, and then that way we can spend the whole time going into all the other alternative treatments. Because like anyone that ever complains, oh, you know, I wish this and that was free and so forth, I'd say, okay, well, let's talk about every free therapy that's available that are censored. I could talk about a couple of the major hitters here. Methylene blue is practically free, and you know, so
here's my favorite spot to get it. I know you got some suggestions too, but just because I know the source and everything's 100% in pharmaceutical grade and all those things, so I'm just
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's like 99.9% USP grade or something. Yeah, no,
yes.
Yeah, yep. Look at that, man. Like, that's pretty close to 100. So we can't really fact check him too hard on that, right? So, Mark, you're wrong. It's not 100%. It's 99.99%, bro. You fake news, man. So
I think they want to start right here before, because I think some people are trying to but I know delivery continues and you continue to work people. I know demand continues to keep it slower than we want it, but that's a good thing because that means people are getting healthy.
It's true. Well, good news is that everyone is getting their product, right? And we okay, yeah, people talking about gas. Yeah, so good news is that everyone is getting their product, right? So that's the number one thing to dispel that. And we are, yes, like you look at some of these shows that we're on and all of that, but we do have enough. We do have all the inventory we need to fulfill all orders. So that's great. We are fulfilling like thousands of orders per week often. And so we're moving through it all. And so if you're waiting, just know that like our team will be in touch with you. We're a few weeks away from being able to streamline things a lot more. Well, I would say more like a month plus. But the key is, though, if people are considering doing this, and especially looking into the new year, we do have our projections on the page in terms of when to expect, and we expect to hit those targets because our manufacturing is completing a lot of what we've been manufacturing, both on the red lights and the PMFs devices and all variations of that. So it's a great time, and it's the best time to get it now, especially while we're offering some big discounts. And yeah, you'll be taken care of. And the thing is as well, like we have a device that's different to everything else on the market. We have the the highest tested irradiance on the market. Mm-hmm. We have man, when you get to the match, the Gauss ratings.
Oh yes, because I've started looking. You've awakened my mind to find what's more effective. What have they studied? And many of the ones out there that people are selling, they won't even tell you a lot of those stats, so that you can't compare. Which tells me all I need to know.
Exactly, it's so true. It's so true. Even so I've got some good friends that they definitely have they're releasing products where you can't quantify it, and so therefore how do you make a good judgment on that? So we've got some. Okay, so Jonathan, when using red light belt on the eyes, great. What level is recommended? Level 1 to 4 versus 0 to be level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and how many times per week and duration. Okay, so 1, I can't give medical advice. So this is not designed to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or condition. This is for educational purposes only. I can only tell you what I do. You could use the level 1 setting to match the lower irradiance in some of the red light studies. Technically, it'd be level 2, which would be probably right around the 50 milliwatts per centimeter squared at the surface. Like if it was right directly against your eyes, if you take it off a few inches and you have it at the level 4, which would be the highest, or with the Red Light Pro belt, which has the 5 wavelengths, which is available there at myredlight.com, you don't have that measured in levels, but you do in brightness, which you would just moderate that by moving the meter up and down. So the equivalent of level 2 would be halfway. And then you would, if you were a few inches off your face, then you would be sitting at the irradiance that is very similar to the study, which is 50 milliwatts is typically the limit of what is tested on eyesight. That being said, these are 200 milliwatts, 205 milliwatts for the red light panels, whether it's, this is like 195 and this one's 205. So they're very close still. And that's the 200 and that's the 300 Pro Max. But if I have my eyes directly up against this and I take the blue out, which is important because that really doesn't have data on it to suggest the safety of looking into blue light. But we're still seeing great results on that. We haven't seen anyone have issues. Mark, I believe, is doing just that. And I am. And I'm not doing it for my eyesight because my eyesight is perfect. I'm doing it for brain function. And so we are seeing even the higher irradiance. There's nothing tested showing the downside or dangers, but but if you want to be conservative and only match what the studies do, then you'd want to sit at about 50 milliwatts, which in this case, you would either put this to 25% of what it emits and then have your eye directly against it, or you'd be 6 inches off. And by being a foot away, you would drop the irradiance in half. So if this is 200 at 3 inches, by being a foot away, you'd be at about 100. And so then you could either, so it's, I haven't really given an exact answer there. I think that you've got some general ideas there. You have to go with what works for you. Explain the difference between infrared and near infrared. Okay. Also, if you use the red light belt against the face or across the eyes closed, what percentage would you have the light at for safety? Yeah. So if the eyes are closed, then there is nothing to push that down, right? So even if you don't have protective eyewear, so yes, you will get it through the eyelid, but it is, you could basically, you put your eyes up toward the sun and close your eyes, and all you feel is just a nice warm sensation. And you know, through history, and if you've ever talked to any of your friends and family that have laid out on the beach with their eyes closed, no one's ever had any issues, right? And yes, the irradiance of red light is stronger than the sun, but it is also in the most gentle wavelengths of the sun, which is the red is the most gentle. So you're very safe there. Personally, I would have if it was eyes closed, I'd have it at the highest setting on the belt and on the device with the eyes closed. With the eyes open, if you want to be conservative, I'd drop it in half or as little as 25% and have my eyes open in either the panel or in the belt. And that would be the general gist of it. And then you could just literally see what works. I believe that your eyes will tell you by causing a little bit of pain and so forth, which I've never seen. But these are the ways that your body tells you, and then the ways that you know it's working and you've got something effective is that it's working, and that's the way that I would orient that. What would be the same thing for dogs? It has a cataract, okay, and white goo in one eye.
Yeah, I just wonder how you would get a dog to look at the red light. Yeah, I don't know. That's the part that I'm like,
dog owner. Yes, I think it's possible that you could get that dog to do something in front of it. Like you could have it eating its food and have the red light panel on the side and on the ground. And so then when he's eating his food, he's getting it. Or you could kind of, if the dog watches TV, there are some dogs that watch TV, right? With you. And then you could have it aimed up at him and you and be doing a dog duo. Like I do this with my kids. While you're watching like Lion King and your dog is sympathizing over the death of Mufasa. I've seen those videos online where the dogs are crying about the Mufasa dying.
Right. I had somebody ask Kevin, on your question, just email me the question directly and I will pass it on so we can get you a date. But
Yeah.
you're getting right at the point right now where you'll hear something.
Exactly.
I mean,
And
you're
my
like
team will reach
literally.
out to you. We've got your name. Exactly. I'm putting this over to my team right now, Kevin. So we'll make sure to get this taken care of.
And I would
ASAP.
like to just say thank you. You have been tenacious in chasing down anybody that feels left between the cracks,
Oh, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate
which
that.
is
You're so
kind.
kind. Absolutely. No, it's so important to us. We just want people to get results. We want to take care of people to the best of our abilities. What we're doing as well is that we've done something really special. Like I've got colleagues that are, charging $8,000 for coaching. Actually, we have a program ourselves, right? Which is right around that price. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because anytime that we have people like waiting in any way, what we do is we graft people into the coaching free of charge, so that you're getting a concierge support that literally would cost thousands of dollars, because red light is not the only area of your health that you need to work on and help. And so what we're doing is we're helping people with all different areas of their health and supporting you with all the things we can't say on this platform. And so I want to encourage you, like when you place your order, you get inside those groups, and you keep an eye out for the emails weekly. You're getting coaching calls from us, and I am joining those as well. So you'll see me.
Where do
in
they
those
find
groups.
that?
In their emails. So basically, all you have to do is, if you've made a purchase with us, you'll be getting emails from us saying, hey, look, we're, get ready to join us live for this coaching call. And with those are recorded as well. So you can watch all the direction advice from our coaches, as well as myself, giving you different direction and advice for your health challenges. Because, like I could tell you people like Natalia Voloshin, who had 4 autoimmune conditions: vasculitis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, and myositis. She spent $200,000 over the course of 5.5 years. She spent that on about 30 different specialists. Half of those were naturopathic doctors and functional medicine doctors. The other half were well-known clinics, mainstream medicine, conventional medicine, including the Cleveland Clinic. At the end of spending all that money and all that work on those conditions, she was told that she would have to get both legs amputated, or she could go on high-dose chemo and steroids because her legs were going gangrene. She had what people would call elephantitis. And she found us. I ended up helping her reverse those conditions. And so she's asymptomatic on all. She's back to swimming, cycling, and everything. In her case, okay, so this is a kind of like a countersell. She didn't use red light because this was 6 years ago. And that wasn't really part of the protocol that I had developed at that point. And so my point in saying this is that there were so many things. Like if you use a red light, there's a very good chance that you could turn everything around. And the studies I'm going to show today are red light and red light only studies, or PMF only studies, or PMF and red light combination studies. And it is miraculous, right, what we're seeing. And my point is saying there are other tools that when you combine it, because for example, we got her on a parasite cleanse. That was a parasite formula I developed called Parapurify, and a toxin metal binder that I developed. She got on those protocols, and she watched the series I released for free called Autoimmune Secrets, and it changed her life. And her name is Natalia Voloshin. We've tracked her results very carefully. She's a scientist. She's an electrical engineer, a very prolific educator, and Estonian woman. So she's brilliant. And being from another country, being a woman, she had to be better than men in order to be equal with men. So it's kind of fascinating to see how well she documented what happened for her life and health, guys. So there are lots of amazing things to do for your health. And when you get inside of our communities, we can help you with these different things. And I could tell you, I could start listing some of the famous doctors from around the world that their family members actually are consulting with me. And and some of them as well, like some of the doctors themselves are consulting with me. And I don't want to call out their names because they're well known. But here's one that I could just show you. This is the book, The Cancer Off Switch. I'm going to be releasing this very soon. On the back here is Dr. Antonio Jimenez. He is the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, not marketing, for the Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers. And so he says, this is what he says about my work and about how I understand what causes disease, how to reverse disease. And I've actually educated and taught and done trainings with his doctors from both of his clinics. And he's had me do that, which is amazing, right? So here's what he writes about me and my work. As Chief Medical Officer of Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers, and with over 30 years of experience in integrative oncology. By the way, he turned down a Joe Rogan interview.
Oh, wow.
He didn't want to get his clinic shut down. I mean, this is arguably the most world famous. By world famous, tell me one cancer doctor today that you know the name of. Okay. They don't see the light of day. But I mean, like thousands of people going to his treatment centers, and anyone that looks up the names, they'll see that it's the premier clinic to go to. It's the place that Olivia Newton-John went to, Suzanne Summers went to. Anyway, he says, I've witnessed in recent times the alarming surge of aggressive cancers in increasingly younger patients and the heartbreaking recurrences in those once declared cancer-free. Jonathan, whom I'm known as both a friend and dear friend, and esteemed colleague for nearly a decade, has become a beacon of hope in the face of this escalating crisis. His relentless pursuit of truth, from his early days in the Truth About Cancer movement — I was a producer on that, by the way — to his current status as a formidable health advocate, is nothing short of inspirational. Jonathan's groundbreaking research and unwavering dedication to those battling cancer and other chronic diseases make this book a potential lifesaver. The Cancer Off Switch, title of the book, isn't just timely, it's a necessary and practical tool for anyone in this fight against these pervasive health challenges. For anyone touched by cancer or seeking to prevent it, this book isn't just recommended, it's essential. Okay, so that's what Dr. Antonio Jimenez had to say about my work and research. So without further ado, I want to show you guys what I just released on the breakthrough with methylene blue, the combination with red light, which could be, guys, as simple as grabbing Mark's methylene blue source, going over to myredlight.com, and for those that are on a limited budget, get a red light belt for a couple $100. We've seen cases just recently where people went that from a 9 out of 10 pain score to a 0 on that red light belt, right? So I should be telling you that no, people only get really the best results on the full body panels. I can tell you the full body panels are going to be amazing because you're going to get all your organs what they need, right? Versus localized, but that's a big belt and you can literally move it to every organ in your body. So at least get something like that. You're spending so little and getting so much benefit, and you're actually interfacing with what we're going to talk about and what came apparent in this film that we just released. I did mention this as well on Tim Pool's show, and people were really impressed and excited about what we brought to light there. Mark, I think you're going to say something.
No, I was just sitting here thinking, I've got so many questions coming in, and I had saying you mentioned the belt, and I was like, somebody had just asked earlier, all right, what's the cheapest they could go and get something that they could use on their eyes? And then you said the belt, and so I started searching on your site. Nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Absolutely. And then here I'll pull up. This is what we found here. Yeah, you see in this video that I've got up there. I'm showing here methylene blue as a photosensitizer, and what you'll see here is this video that we just dropped, where you can see this. Mel Gibson was right. What he said on Rogan just got confirmed, exposed. So I went into the details and science behind this and why it is that, for example, the Hope for Cancer Center is using this practically every day with practically all of the cancer patients. There's really, of all the data I've looked at, of all the experts I've talked to, of all the studies I've read, I have not seen any contraindications with that. And so if people want to clear out these disease cells and known as senescent cells are cells that stop multiplying but don't die right away, then have a look at this data. Okay, and then yes, we went through these studies on stem cells and why stem cells are critical to how the body functions. So your body's ability to produce stem cells and your body's ability to mature stem cells which means to make them into normal, healthy cells. This is the process that helps us understand the premise of what truly a med bed is, right? Which is something that is interfacing with the body and how it circulates, generates, proliferates healthy cells. And so once you kind of get your head wrapped around this, you'll start understanding the importance of this. And so now this makes sense why it's interfacing with all these different types of cancer or with autoimmune disease, because it's actually tapping into how your body produces stem cells and how it matures the stem cells. And what you'll find with cancer is that these cells are stuck in limbo. They're not maturing properly, and they lack the energy, the cellular energy. So when cells, including stem cells, get light, they convert this through the mitochondria receiving this and producing energy in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Once the cells have energy, including the stem cells, they now have the energy to perform all cellular function and do what they were made in the body to do, which is to interact, cell signal, to communicate, to be able to repair, regenerate, form into new bone cells, new tissue, new heart cells, new eye cells. And this is the fascinating science. And this is why we're seeing these wonderful and breakthrough results, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, you just tell me when you're ready for questions. I'm starting to get loading up in here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'll just give you guys, so that I don't leave that cliffhanger for too long, in terms of, why does that work? Why do we have something like, these cancer stem cells being, by the way, that phrase is an important one. Once you understand cancer stem cells, you'll start to understand that this is the premise by which this is working. And you have stem cells that aren't forming properly into normal cells, and they stay in limbo as a stem cell without maturing. And this is part of this process, and this is why it's referred to as a cancer stem cell. Now, we need to understand that they are influencing all the progression of cancer. So, and this is what I talked about on Tim Pool's show. He talked about, as I mentioned, okay, in 40 years, we're going to be gone. Well, I don't think we're going to make it to that point if we don't work out this problem and don't get to the bottom of it. And by the way, I have to tell people, you guys need to understand how important it is to get toxic teeth out of the mouth. Okay, so what am I talking about? Does anyone here, let me know in the chat whether you know that you've got root canals, or if you don't know, tell me that you don't know that you've got root canals and amalgams, okay? My father-in-law just returned from Tijuana. This is medical tourism at its best. And I could give a shout out to the Bio Implant Center there. Dr. Edgar, tell him I sent you, because they will be the best you'll find. I don't want to list the names of the other biological dentists I've worked with that don't compare. And I'm talking about maybe 1/5 of the price. Okay. So what you'd pay $10,000 for someone else somewhere else, you pay $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 there. It's a big difference, but those are driving so much of cancer. Mark, don't tell me that you don't have amalgams and root canals. Tell me.
I had them all removed by a doctor. Then I shared all that. I was his first patient doing the removal. This was like early in as they were discovering just how bad. And I had mercury poisoning, aluminum poisoning, you name it. It was bad.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to go through chelation, had to go through it all. And buddy of mine, and it became a really big one. He just retired about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But he spent probably the last 8-10 years of his dental career specializing in just removing and replacing mercury fillings.
Yes,
but it was, even doing everything right, I still crashed for a few weeks after, but then it really was stunning. My immune system improved. The difference getting rid of those things was daggone substantial.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for responding here in the chat. And I obviously believe in this because I personally paid for my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my dad, and I'm about to pay for my mom to go to this particular place. And one, guys, it doesn't have to be that particular place. It has to be a biological dentist. The reason why I'm saying that I would, if you're in America or international, I would take the trip to go. And to Tijuana, and I know people that I mean, they are multimillionaires and beyond, and they will go there not because they're like trying to save money. They're trying to go to the best doctor, the best dentist in the world. And I mean, this guy, he's so good, man. He took such good care. And my father-in-law, he said that it was the worst he had ever smelt when he'd pulled off his of his whole career. It was so rotten, guys. And this is the reason why. Think about it. What would happen if you had a mouse die in your house? What would your house smell like? Right? If a mouse died in your house. And why did God make it so that, or however the forces of nature are aligned, so that was so apparent to your nose that this is so disgusting, I need to get this out of my house because it will cause untold disease. Same thing is true with your root canals. They're causing untold disease. You cannot get around this issue. So see a biological dentist, whether it's root canals or amalgams. Check for infections. There's something called the cone beam scan. And don't go for the scam. Definitely go for the scan. And then, yeah, consider taking a trip to that center. That's called the Bio Implant Center. It's in Tijuana with Dr. Edgar. Okay, so that's just a recommendation. You're free to do whatever. I just want people to get better. I obviously invested there and spent, and my wife, by the way, as well. I went there myself, but I didn't have to get any work done. My wife did, and I did have a filling done, but nothing extracted. I did have wisdom teeth extracted in New York. Yeah, awesome. So, oh yeah. And I mean, there you go. Yep. That's it. I love those guys. I think they're amazing. And I want people to get that help, because I could say, hey guys, look, Red Light does everything. Red Light is amazing for oral health, but I would be selling you short, and you can't get around that. You can't, like, you may be able to stop the need for a root canal by oil pulling. So getting coconut oil and looking up oil pulling and swishing the oil in your mouth, and then getting red light over your teeth. And this one's going to sound so bizarre again. Urine therapy in your mouth, swishing it may help regrow your gums. It's done it for a lot of people. Yep.
Don't know if I'm that brave, buddy.
I know. I know. Right. But think about it. The best dentists are using platelet-rich plasma and platelet-rich fibrin, which is your blood spun and filtered. It is very similar to what the urine produces. And contrary to popular opinion, there aren't toxins in urine. They're actually metabolites. It's how your body self-signals. And hence why it's the same, right? Your kidneys filter about 180 liters of blood per day. Of that, about 1%. So that 180, almost the entire 180 liters of blood that get filtered through the kidneys, once it goes through the kidneys, that's urine. Okay. What happens to 180 liters of urine per day? It gets reabsorbed by the body, guys. What happens to the 1% that goes to the bladder? Well, it gets excreted out of the body. Why? It has to balance blood pressure, and it can't utilize those minerals in that moment. So it has to happen that way. And therefore, once that information comes back, because it's filtered blood, whether it's putting it on the skin, it's going to regenerate the skin, very much like platelet-rich plasma, PRP, face injections. So people are regenerating their skin, reversing lifelong acne. You can get rid of dandruff, typically overnight, with putting urine in your hair, especially aged urine. You could put it on your skin for acne, lifelong acne. It should reverse that. Warts, put it in a wart. You should be able to remove that wart within 24 hours. Everything I'm talking about has either happened to a family member or a close friend, or from the audience, the people that follow me, typically the closest ones, because I could show you all the images of all these things. So that's a big game changer. Athlete's foot. You should get rid of that in a couple of days with just putting urine on there. That's an easy sell, right, Mark? You'd put that on athlete's foot, right? That's you're muted, but that's just an aim in the shower, man. That's just like,
yeah, I'm just saying I'd pee on my feet if I needed to.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's better than somebody else peeing on my feet.
Yeah, well, look, if you were in a situation where you're out in the desert and somebody, if you had a burn victim, it is a military regiment. If it's a burn victim, for everyone to urinate on that individual so that the burn can heal, it is miraculous, and it is the best thing to do for a burn. Besides Charlie, Derek, Sam, their letters, or Mary, Martha, Sam, they're letters for things. Okay, so that they're just letters.
Yeah,
okay?
Just letters.
Yeah. So just remember that that's Mary, Martha, Sam, and Charlie, Derek, Sam. That's the same thing. You can look that up. That's amazing for burns, and that's what Mel Gibson's 3 friends were using for their cancer. They were using,
oh dear Jesus! No wonder people were shooting at his house and trying to show up and shut him up.
Oh, with Tim, because I was talking about this. I did say this on the show, but yeah, that I did talk. I was supposed to be there that night when that happened, actually, but Milo and I switched places. When Milo Yiannopoulos was on the show, but I was on after, so I won't. I don't want to take responsibility for that one.
No.
Yeah. And so, guys, I'll show you this. Put up this slide, and I'll show you guys this. So check this out. So this is a really cool chart that we put together, which you guys would have seen. So if you can interface within the regions of the body. And this is, by the way, methylene blue is activated here by 660. And this is why this protocol of combining the methylene blue, what it does is it's absorbing into the tumor cells and causing apoptosis by the generation of reactive oxygen species like singlet oxygen. Once the body does this, it's going to use these reactive oxygen species like singlet oxygen. And this could be for anything. This could be if you have any issues or don't have any issues at all. Everyone's got these senescent cells, including senescent mitochondria. And basically senescence, associate that with zombieism, okay? Very scientific term, zombieism, okay? It's a cell that's, it's like the Walking Dead. It's alive, but it's not functioning properly, and it's taking energy from the body. And as your body can't destroy these cells, then you are stuck. And this is the reason why ivermectin works, is because it activates caspase-3, which is the death enzyme, and red light is going to activate caspase-3 as well, which is a death enzyme. It's going to cause the apoptosis of these cells and produce these reactive oxygen species. What methylene blue does is, whether you use red light on its own, it's going to do exactly what I just said without the need for anything added in. But when you add something in, whether it's chlorophyll, curcumin, these are photosensitizers, riboflavin, berberine, or methylene blue, they're all photosensitizers. They're going to cause a hypersensitivity of the cells to light and cause them to absorb more of the light and produce more of the reactive oxygen species. And then that's going to target and kill these senescent cells in your body, including the cancer cells. And that's why it works. And this is now why it works. Now, here you can see the regions. Now, all you're doing with the wavelengths of red light, you're aiming at the sections of the body that you're needing to interface with. So 480 is going to be very shallow. If you have anything on the skin, bacteria, you're going to hit that. And as well, it does go through the body. This is the best wavelength. The 400s are the best to activate curcumin, which is a red substance. It's actually activated by blue. Methylene blue is a blue substance. It's activated by the peak of red light, which is 660. Fascinating, right? Blue activated by red, red activated by blue. Fascinating. So then you're interfacing there with the 590, 660, 670, these are all different studies done on these different wavelengths. And then coming into the near infrared, 800 and up, 830, 850, they're getting to the deeper layers, as you can see here, through the dermis, the subcutaneous tissue, muscle, bone, and interior tissues. Now, when it lands in these regions, it's interfacing with your stem cells in these regions of the body, causing them to proliferate in these areas of the body, causing them to mature. That's one aspect. And these are clinical studies done on both red light and pulse electromagnetic field therapy for the production of stem cells in the bones, and causing them to do what they need to do throughout the body, not just localized to the bone. And this MSC is called a mesenchymal stem cell, and also mesenchymal stromal stem cells. And so this is a really important aspect. And here you've got the amount of power delivered. So we're well in that power zone and higher. And so here you've got the big C of the lung, or of the breast, stomach, colorectal, prostate. Here's a clinical study showing these either going into remission or there being a tremendous amount of success where it was determined to be highly effective. Like with lung cancer, it was an overall response of 87%. With yeah, and
just a quick reminder though, folks, if you don't use these products, they don't work.
Yep.
For those that use them, they're awesome.
Yep, you got it. You got it. Mitochondrial health, all these stem cells are working for these regions of the body: lupus, fibromyalgia, arthritis, stroke, Hashimoto's, diabetes, neurodegeneration, eyesight, oral, big C, head and neck, brain, cervical, skin. These are the wavelengths that are working for these. So this is, a lot of people watching go, okay, well, I don't have cancer in my liver, but do you have a liver, right? So this is the point. The liver is one of the most attacked organs, but with anything, okay, I don't have brain cancer, but I do have a brain. I don't have oral cancer, but I do have a mouth. And so what you want to do is you want to give those cells what they need so that they can be not only preventative of disease, but functioning optimally. So you don't have pain, you don't have degeneration, you don't have, the cosmetic downsides of what aging and all of these things, glioblastoma, lymphoma, bone cancer, all proven in clinical studies. So these are some of the big breakthroughs here, Mark. And I want to show you as well. Yeah, there's that's Dr. Tony Jimenez, right? So he's then educating. He's the one that wrote the recommendation of me and my work. So this is the part that I just released. I shared this on Tim Pool and Gary's with Next News Network. And we're looking here about how it activates. You can screenshot this, guys, if you want this specific information. Exactly what I said. And these are some of the popular ones out there. This artemisinin is where sweet wormwood, and that's where ivermectin is derived from. So guys, if you're taking green tea already, if you're using red light, it's going to make it that much more effective. And if you want to know how much more effective, but by the way, that's sperm motility. If you got any men or women in the house, because very effective for both men and women with fertility. I want to show you these studies. Mark, you might have seen this last time we chatted, where in this study, 96% of the women went from an enlarged thyroid to a normal thyroid.
On that one, probably the thing I get more responses from people talking about the red light since we started having you on, folks that have received it and gotten it, and mostly ladies, have been sounding off on how much better the thyroid function. I mean, there's only been about half a dozen of them that have responded, but they have been they were like, oh my God, it's helped with this, it's helped with that. So, and they're using it because their symptoms were so extreme that they took it seriously and got one and used it. And that's probably been the one that out of all of them, I've had a lot of people say they're getting them for eyes, but I haven't had many people give me updates. The people that have picked them up, Hashimoto's or thyroid issues, they've been like glowing. I should probably make a time it'd take a while. I'd have to go back through day by day and search, but
if you don't mind
sharing those with you.
Look, it's really touching for me. I love that, Mark, because this ruins people's lives. I did a whole documentary series on thyroid. It was called The Thyroid Secret. And I watched marriages get destroyed over thyroid issues. I saw children get born with developmental disorders because of thyroid issues. It was devastating. I had no idea of the social impact of this issue. And all right, so look at this, right? So this is where this clinical study showed that 96% went into like remission of an enlarged thyroid. And it was a 12-month study, but the treatment was only 3 weeks, okay? And I'll show you this because you shouldn't really believe it until you see it. They did combine selenium and vitamin D. So if you took those out, I could imagine the result wouldn't have been the same, and certainly not as fast, though if you did get sunlight and you did have a balanced diet, it's arguable that you could do it without the supplements. Not saying that you should, because if you've got a serious issue, you should generally replicate the studies. But look at this, right? It was 820 nanometer wavelength, so it's near infrared. In this sense, what you have in the device is like whether it's the bell or this panel, it's 810, 830, and then the panel is 850 as well and 1060. So it's not exactly the 820, but that is kind of not the issue there. It's kind of because it's all in the region. You saw the graph before. 810, 830, 850, and 1060 is a lot better because you're getting deeper again, and you're getting all around those surrounding areas. But look at this part. This is a really important part. 200 milliwatts of power, not common in the irradiance. So it's part of the reason why our devices are working so well, and you're hearing these results because of the amount of power we're delivering. We did that by using 42 mil chips and 30-degree lenses, and that's what allowed for a deeper penetration. And then we used the right wavelength. So that's what you're looking for. And again, 0 EMFs. And then 0 flicker. If you had the flicker, it would cause damage to the organs, not help. Okay, so all of those combined made sense then. And it wasn't a small study. There was 97 participants in it. And this one I may or may not have shown, but this was the second study. And I really believe that this makes it clear what other supplement regimes, if you're doing any other supplementation, and you have any other thing you're working on. It was fascinating that in the two groups here, one took red light with selenium, vitamin D, iron, and the other one took just vitamin D, iron, and selenium with no red light. So let's see how much better was the red light, if at all. And the therapy was shown to be more effective than supplements alone, about 70 times better at improving thyroid hormone balance, and 15 times better at reducing medication.
Yeah, guys, that's not 70% better. That's 70 times better. It's not 15% better. That's 15 times better.
Yes, it's not, and it's not even 700% better, because that would be 7 times. It's 7,000% better.
Exactly. That's stunning.
Yep. Yeah, isn't that a great one? There's the clinical study there, and this was 350 patients, and that's on PubMed. So this isn't me in my basement, even though that would be cool too. And I've got some of those studies, but I'll show you these ones, and I'll show you some of my basement studies as well. But this one was diabetic foot ulcers, 90 to 100% healing after 90 days. And so many people are getting amputations for things that if only they knew. It's efficient, viable, painless at treating DFUs, diabetic foot ulcers. This is the study on anal cancer. This is 4 weeks targeted red light, noticeable pain relief, tissue healing, improved skin integrity. And this was a 67-year-old. And we found as well with this was the before and after on the cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. This was a complete response after 2 sessions. This was photodynamic therapy. That's the before and after. What an amazing, that was 2 sessions. And it says complete response, which means they went into remission. And there was 3 people in the study. They all achieved the same result. And it was a complete response, a complete remission in all 3 out of 3, which is documented here. And the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation has showed the 60 to 90% effectiveness rate, and that was the breast cancer with a 40% drop in 24 hours. That was in vitro though; it's in a petri dish, and it was only the 660 out of the 4 wavelengths used there that could do that. We saw that here's the 87% response rate in unresectable lung cancer, meaning you can't perform surgery. This is more likely to kill you than any other cancer. Okay, it's more likely to kill you than prostate, colon, and breast cancer combined. Okay, so just think about that. What is it that we are breathing today when smoking rates are going down in ratio for people? Why is this happening to people? There are toxins that we are inhaling that we are not able to clear out of our lungs, and this is photodynamic therapy. Okay, so that has to then be, if you want to do that properly, you have to then use that turmeric. By the way, turmeric is not going to be super effective if you're not using red light, because it doesn't get absorbed. It's not very bioavailable, guys. So that's a really big win. Or methylene blue, or the combination of those. By the way, there's some great studies on the combination of those. I'll give you a shout out on that with what you're doing there, Mark. Guys, this is gold. Guys, you will not find this information out there with like who have you seen reporting on this and going detail in the studies and explaining this? By the way, that was the Lancet Oncology. That was 49% go into remission in the red light group, only 13.5% in the control group. That was 413 people. 6% got surgery in the red light group, 30% in the non-red light group. That's a 500% increase in your ability to not get surgery. The combination of those therapies leaves 9 out of 10 men impotent, and which is really sad. So I shouldn't laugh at that. I wasn't laughing. I was laughing at my own words. It's very distressing to know how many lives are getting ruined by this that does not need. And then looking at efficacy here with the skin cancer, this was 300 tumors tracked. Not a single evidence there that red light made the cancers grow in any one of the 300 tumors. But the treated mice looked healthier, better skin quality, more normal behavior, meaning that it's improving their social abilities, because everyone knows that rats need better social abilities because they're weird.
Weird.
No, I mean they're normal for other rats, but for us, that we don't like them. It's kind of it's a form of rat racism.
Yeah, ratism. Starting to get questions. I mean, we're running.
Yeah,
up
okay, cool. Yeah, that's great.
All right, already.
Here's my shout out for you with your methylene blue, Mark. Ready? So,
the photo
out of 10 studies, 7 showed clear tumor reduction, sometimes almost complete, up to 99 to 100% shrinkage in colorectal cancer, melanoma, and certain carcinomas. If you put into ChatGPT, this is a really good shout out for your product. And by the way, guys, I wouldn't necessarily use it every day, even though, Mark, if you feel like you should, then I respect you for that position. I'm just aware of the fact that it is a dye. It is synthetic.
Exactly. You've got to weigh the risk, the reward, the response, the what, and err on the side of caution when you're worried about any kind of toxic levels. What I mean, the research is great. We just need more peer reviewed on the how much, etc. But guys, a lot of doctors out there, a lot of studies. Don't take my word. I'm not a doctor. It is too easy for you guys to go find out exactly what they're saying.
Yep. And ChatGPT will tell you that of all the photosensitizers tested, methylene blue, hands down, is the most effective, right? And that's why you'll find the Hope for Cancer Center using it, even though some of the studies I quoted to you used other forms like aminoleuvolinic acid. Their go-to is still methylene blue. The studies are showing that it's a slam dunk. And then here, just so people are aware.
I find it interesting, though. I mean, when you look at it, and of course, anybody that doesn't want the competition in the medical world is going to tell you, oh, don't take that because of this, or because it might be this. They don't get into kind of, it reminds me of the COVID days. Oh, don't take that. That's for horses, when it was actually developed for people. But they got to cast the shade on it and not do but it's a dye. Doesn't mean it can be good for you. Do your research. Just don't walk away from something with a closed mind because, anyways.
Yes, exactly. When you know the risk, and you know, like Dr. Tony Jimenez is quoting the statistic that within 10 years, the current rates will double. And if 50%, which is true, of men are getting cancer in their lifetime, and 1 in 3 women are getting cancer in their lifetime, it means that we're headed for 100% of the population getting cancer within as little as 10 years. And that is not all at the same time. That's within their lifetime. And because of that, people are not they don't realize how prolific this issue is and how we all need to be taking anti-cancer measures today, guys, not tomorrow, which could be intermittent fasting. It could be doing a 2-3 day water fast. It could be doing the grounding, certainly the pulse electromagnetic field therapy and the red light. I'm saying that they're head and shoulders. You heard me talk about Charlie, Derek, Sam, right? Letters, look at the chat, guys, and or Mary, Martha, Sam. That is letters, right? So that is extremely effective for that. And it costs nothing, guys. Please no one complain about treatments being out of reach for people. Nothing is out of reach today. I'm telling you, even what we've provided, we do have payment plans and all of that, which means that you could get a belt for $30 a month for several months, and then you own it. You know how much some of the clinics now, I just got off the phone with one of the clinics last week. You know how much they charge for a 15-minute session, Mark?
I'm afraid to find out. My guess is a couple $100.
Yep, $250.
Wow.
Yep. for a 15-minute session, right? And then after that 6 weeks that you in a $3,000 program, you are now on your own without that. Whereas what we're doing is we're getting into people's homes. By the way, the Hope for Cancer Center, they're now using our red lights in their patient program. So for their follow-up, so that's how much they trust the efficacy of our devices. That's how much Dr. Tony Jimenez uses this for his own life and his own health. That's what he's doing for his own health, right? So these are top docs, right? And we'll answer some of these questions. I know we're in the latter end here, just quickly showing you the results that people are getting on the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And we keep seeing now that people are putting insomnia into remission. One of the clinical studies showed here that 69.7% of the insomniacs went into complete remission of insomnia during the study using the pulsed electromagnetic field. And like you mentioned, we're using the right Gauss or millitesla magnetic field strength. We're using the right frequency range. We're using the right parameters that are typically in just medical clinical devices, but they're consumer prices. And it's a combination of red light, far infrared, and PEMF all in one device. And this conclusion here showed that it was very effective for fibromyalgia, low back pain, osteoarthritis. So that's 3 different conditions with one therapy of
and I'm really looking forward to, guys. Mine should be in sometime in the next week or 2, and then
You're starting today, Mark.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
I'm just excited because I plan on tracking my progress from sleep to how I feel to any test levels with you guys as I start like hard on the PMF, man. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The combination of these. And then, so I showed the study before on red light for prostate cancer. The reason why both of these are so effective is because both are interfacing with the mitochondria. If you're out in nature, you're standing on the ground and getting the Earth's magnetic pulse while you're getting the red light. And so here it's finding that it's strengthening healthy cells, causing the cancer cells to die off. And so here's the clinical studies showing that this is a therapeutic strategy for these. And this one here was specifically with breast cancer. Normal healthy cells weren't just unaffected. They showed signs of improved health. And here it's slowing the growth, triggering cell death, pushing them to a state called senescence. So you're taking an active cancer cell, pushing into a senescent cell, and then killing the cell. That's the progress. And finally, apoptosis. There's a confirmation of that study there showing, and there it is in the documented literature. And now have a look at these combined. By the way, this was lasting for 12 weeks. Some of the studies show it lasting for 6 months after the treatment has even stopped. And what we're saying is keep doing it at least weekly, and you'll start seeing everything get better, and you'll have just a better quality of life, better sleep, better mood, and hence why it's being very effective for anxiety. People that are watching your show are getting anxious about the state of the world. You guys are kind of switched on. You want to kind of, notice what is connected to your health and what's connected to, just world events, because a lot of people, they're struggling with their health and they don't realize that that's why they're feeling the anxiety, not because of world events. Here's an example here, 12 sessions. And this is why this is going to be so pivotal for you, Mark, because after 12 sessions, just 12, the participants with PMF had stronger leg movements, moved faster, stronger leg muscles, more steadily walking in tests, fewer depressive symptoms. And here's the combination. There's a study there. There's the combination of PMF with red light together. This was a 2-month period, better shoulder movement, less pain, reduced tenderness, better function. Those receiving the combined therapies showed the greatest and most long-lasting improvements. And they concluded that using these together was the most effective and better than either therapy alone. So combined therapy, greatest and most longest lasting effects. By the way, if you just get our PMF mat from myredlight.com, you use the code MarkZ25, that's a 25% off discount, and MarkZ30, that's a 30% off discount. And that's for the bundles. So the 25 is for single items, which still come with free gifts as well. So they're all kind of like bundles, but the ones that they're larger packages with several different items, like the red light, the sauna, the red light with the PEMF, which is like our med bed hack, which is what you're seeing here. That's the clinical study there. You are then with, for example, just the PMF, you are getting red light and PMF combined in one device, and with far infrared heat therapy all in one. And there's the lights that we put in it. We put red, green, and blue into that device.
So the PE.
And there's the magnetic field strength, where we use the 150 millitesla. Like I mentioned, with what we've done with the red light, this is what's causing the vascular endothelial growth factor. That's how you're building new blood vessels, essential for tissue repair and injury. And so that gives you like kind of really the big keys in all of that, Mark. I know I got a couple of questions before we wrap the show.
Somebody was asking, can you spend too much time on your PEMF mat?
PEMF mat, no. You could sleep on it, so you could do like 9 hours. You can't overdo it. Red light, you can, but that's one of the really cool things about the PEMF. It is designed that way. Look at the studies. You'll see what I'm saying is 100% true. It's very safe, very gentle, yet extremely effective. So yes, you could sleep on it, or you could use it for just that, 20, just that 30-minute mark before you go to bed, as an example. So you really can choose how much you do. And if you put it next to where you have the television, then you should just do it when you do other things, so that it's not so big a deal. It's just part of your lifestyle at that point.
I've had people asking from toenail fungus to blood cancer to whatever. Guys, I'd just do a quick search or put it in your use ChatGPT, use Grok, because they're just going to go off what information is available from doctors, etc., on the net and studies. Just ask it the question. A lot of the questions you're asking us, you can answer for yourself very, very, very quickly. But when we do have you on the Rumble only one, I mean, we should plan on a couple hours so that people can just ask questions.
That'd be so much fun. I can't wait. We're going to do that 100%. And yeah, so in short, with the toenail fungus, like, your go-to is, 30 minutes a day. Like, if you've got something topical, you can put methylene blue directly on your skin and then put the red light on it. If you're doing methylene blue, it's about 30 minutes before you do the red light, just the 30-minute mark, or immediate. If you're doing it, it's going to be quite readily available. Curcumin, berberine, riboflavin, chlorophyll, they're all photosensitizers. It's about 2 to 3 hours beforehand, and then in which case you still just do that 30-minute mark. You could do as much as an hour if you wanted to. You could do 30 minutes twice a day. You could replicate the sun. If you're trying to improve your eyesight, it has to be the morning. It can't be the afternoon. There's no recorded benefits. 3 minutes eyes open. If you did 45 minutes with your eyes open, the result would be the same with your eyesight. It doesn't actually increase. That was the UCL University that found that result. So these guys give you good litmus tests for that. But in both cases, you're getting it straight into your brain. So you're going to improve your mood. You're going to improve your thyroid function through brain function. So that's the outside. A lot of the thyroid studies are just on the thyroid. I'd encourage people to get it on their thyroid and into their eyes at the same time, or independently. But so you could put, like, for example, a belt there, and then you could put it up against your eyes, and you're going to start seeing some big movements and big changes there. Fungus, same thing. Again, red light, you could apply a photosensitizer like methylene blue, or just do the red light directly against it. Going to be amazing. And you could do the urine. You use the urine independently, and should work for toenail fungus like really quickly and simply. And let's see, what else were some of the bigger hitter questions there?
Flashing back to this one, if your dentist recommends a root canal, what do you suggest instead? Or do you just find a what's the word you use for it?
Yeah, biological dentist, holistic dentist. And by the way, if you're looking for somebody that is able to remove amalgams, they should be SAFE trained, SAFE. Which is safe, right? Safe amalgam. No, smart. Sorry, smart. SMART, which is safe mercury amalgam removal technique. And then if they are under that certification, generally that should be fine.
They'll lead you right then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it is possible that they could have that and they're still reckless. And I took a girl here once in Puerto Rico. She's younger than me. I'm 40 in a couple of months. And I took her on my back so that she could put her feet in the water, because she got her amalgams removed the wrong way, and she was paralyzed as a result of it. Okay. So And, you know, can she get that function back? Yes, absolutely. Should she be doing red light? And should she be doing pulse electromagnetic field? Yes, because that's what's going to cause the bones to regenerate. It will cause the bones to detoxify themselves and the organs. That's the reason why it's so effective. Oh yeah, there's nicotine gum. So yeah, nicotine is a big hack, guys. You could definitely do a lot with that. And I'm the guy that doesn't drink any alcohol, doesn't drink coffee. Not saying that it's the worst thing you can drink. You definitely want to be careful with when you're drinking it. Make sure you're doing it in the morning. Try to get acid-free coffee. Like there's Tyler's acid-free coffee. There's, you know, a few different versions out there. But you know, I'm very much like a holistic person. So if I'm taking nicotine, there's a reason for it. And nicotine is in eggplants, potatoes, tomatoes. It's a natural substance, and it's going to help you with cognitive function. It's going to help remove toxins, and even it's actually going to help you remove glyphosate from your body. Where do we get the PMF again? Yes, that's on myredlight.com. All the PMF map and the, yeah, I can't write that because it's a website, but you could see it there under my name. You can just see myredlight.com or in the description. That's awesome. Yes. Oh, okay. The root canal. Sorry, I didn't answer that. So the root canal, the way to do that would be to get platelet-rich plasma and platelet-rich fibrin injected into your gums and into these areas around the tooth. The biological dentists that know how to save the tooth from root canals would do that. The other way is that people are using oil pulling, like with coconut oil, and they're saving their teeth from root canals, and the tooth is regenerating. The best thing to do is, as well, is to get red light onto the tooth because it's a bone, and it makes sense to get methylene blue directly on your gums and on your teeth, and then to put the red light directly on it because your teeth are part of your bones. And you just saw the studies on red light and bones, like it was there on screen, and you actually could then photosensitize your teeth, get your teeth to regenerate. And that's the point. That's the reason why it's working. Get the cells, the stem cells within your teeth to regenerate. And therefore you could save your teeth from it. The other one is to swish urine in your mouth. And people are preventing root canals because it's like platelet-rich fibrin. Okay. All right. Smart, certified for feelings. People are loving this. It's great.
Yeah, it is. The really last question for you, Reese asking, can you pay with your HSA card? I don't know that answer, but HSA card, a lot of them allow you to, you know, use for your vitamins and for different things. And I'm curious. That would be a game changer.
Yeah, I love that. I think it will be available perhaps in the future, and I need to look into seeing how we could tap into that more. So right now with us, no, and I don't know of any that are. And so in that sense, what I would do is right now I would use this, you know, with your money, and then I would use your HSA card for other things. Maybe you can use your HSA, I don't know, for a biological dentist. Hopefully you can. If not, you could use it for your other supplements where you can. And by the way, guys, I've done the math on this before. You're going to spend a lot more on your supplements, even one single supplement and a single red light device. You know, do the math on you know, one supplement for $50 a month is $600 a year. Over the next 10 years, it's $6,000 a year. I'm a family of 4, so we all need the same thing, and therefore I'm up at $24,000 over the next 10 years just for that one supplement. So you're going to spend a lot less on a red light product. So, you know, so technically red light is the cheap one. You can get on the payment plans through the PayPal buy now, pay later on our page on myredlight.com. And same with the PMF is all, you know, you can do all that. And so they both become the cheap things, and then you can do that. Yes. Will it take one urine swisher, please? Yes. Will it take one? You would have to continue doing it, but if you and you can look at urinetherapy.com. Go to there. That's Dr. Ed Group and I. We're doing a lot of education on this. This is a free therapy. By the way, I've seen people reverse myocarditis in 24 hours and less, right? With urine therapy. I'm not kidding you. And I see it all the time. Dr. Lee Merritt ended her show the other night. We're doing red light therapy. She's just by the way. And somebody, you know, said, I found Jonathan's work. Dr. Merritt, she's telling this story. I had severe myocarditis after said intervention. And now I'm free from it because I did the urine therapy. So guys, I know that a lot of people discredit me over that. I'm willing to take the bullets on that one because, you know, it's only fair.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Nasty, but if it works, it works.
Yeah. I mean, you drank about 1 liter of urine per day in the womb. So, you know, what can I tell you? There's this special, guys, if you want to flash that up on screen, Mark. And it's just that MarkZ 25, MarkZ 30. And we're just going to have that available for a very limited time. We want to make sure people get access to that, though. So place your order and get your new year started the right way. And, you know, make sure you grab that ASAP. And so you can see all the different packages where you can, you know, choose. And we've got the bundle, which we call the MedBed bundle, where you've got the red light and PMF. Some of you guys have a red light, so get a PMF. Some of you guys have a PMF, get a red light. But if you have neither, then that's an example of a really good bundle that you can get together. And we've given a lot of free gifts there. And yeah, so it's fantastic, guys.
One, I enjoyed it too. I mean, if you've got just a minute, I'll end this one. If you'll stay in the thing, maybe we can go ahead and get a date knocked out, or I'll text you. You don't have to stick.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Whichever's best for you.
Yeah, no, I'll just text you. We'll set up a Rumble only, so that we can really, really dive in. You guys can ask all those individual questions that we just can't ask in this setting, which I think would be great. Also, don't forget, guys, you can do a lot of this research yourself to see if it will help or not.
Exactly.
A lot of it. Jonathan, I can't thank you enough. Open people's eyes to what is possible, what technology is already there, and we're just not utilizing.
So true. Thank you, Mark. It's an honor. Really, I love seeing people live a better life. And I shared a couple of the results. By the way, I don't know if I shared this story. This one, my dad, $30,000 spent on stem cells for his knees. Look, guys, I take the commandment, honor your mother and father seriously. If I have the means and the opportunity to do so, I'm going to pay for things to try and get my parents out of pain, get them to live a better life. Nothing worked. The stem cells didn't work. Stem cells didn't work. In a lot of cases, I tried them on. I had no other options. Red light, what costs a couple $100 for red light over his knee. And you can see a knee device on that page, or the belt will work as well. Red light panel will work. But he's free of pain in both of his knees. We saw that I've shared the story of the 92-year-old that regained her eyesight, peripheral vision. She can now see out of her peripherals. She can read. She's got her life back. She has no nerve pain in her feet. She can sleep. She matters. She's 92, but she's no less important than any other person. Yep. So people asking for that discount code. It's Mark.
Yeah, it's MarkZ 25. If it's on a single item, an individual item, it's MarkZ 30. So you get 30% if it's a bundled item.
Yep. You got it, man. You got it. So, yeah. And thyroid conditions, even with Graves' disease, you can't see as many studies on it, but we see people, I saw Shannon go from bedridden to competing in the New York Marathon 2.5 weeks after she started treatment. Her doctors were flabbergasted. It was a really exciting case study. We see a lot of people like reverse the aging. I shared the a lot of weight loss. That's the clinics that are charging $250 a session. Those are often weight loss measures that they're using for that. And so this is my before. So you always it's funny kind of seeing the before and after. This was an example here of, I don't really share it. Let's see if I can see, did I put this image in here? No. Yes. No. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to see this image of me. Where did I put that? Okay. I'll pull it up here. Maybe it's in this one. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, this was me and Tim Pool the other day in studio. He's really excited. So he's using this device, and he's super excited about it. That's that there.
All right, I'm gonna.
All right, so that's that. That's me and Tim in studio just last week with the red light device, and there's me. Yeah, that's like a week or two ago. Here's the funny part about this. You don't know how many times I've worked out in the last month. Maybe like 5 times for 5 minutes. So I really know that you could do a lot. I am active. I chase my kids around a lot. I'm playing with them all the time and doing a lot of things. But I don't like work out a lot. I should maybe work out a bit more than what I do. But the point is, you can really achieve your health goals if you use these therapies to your advantage. So thanks again for having me, brother.
I appreciate you. And for the rest of you folks, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, unless there is breaking news.